Advanced topics, because you are now advanced students and you're ready to advance from study guides. Hooray! Last section. What is fair use in copyright law? In its most general sense, a fair use is any copying of copyrighted material done for a limited and transformative purpose, such as to comment upon, criticize, or parody a copyrighted work. Such uses can be done without permission from the copyright owner. Very dangerous statement, because if you violate a copyright, you can get sued, and it's just in the eye of the beholder. If I think you violated my copyright, that's my footage, what are you doing with my footage? Well, I'm just commenting on it. I'm using it for criticism. I'm only using a little bit of it. I could still sue you. But that's the idea in the copyright law, and everybody is fighting over that all the time, especially Disney. So fair use suggests, especially in the classroom, fair use suggests that we're going to use it for educational purposes only. Now, once it goes out of the classroom, we can be in pretty big trouble if we're trying to make money off of something that was done with someone's copyrighted work. And by the way, I don't know if I have that up there. I didn't actually write that down. But what is copyright? Copyright is simply that you own the right to your own footage, that whoever has created it is the copyright owner. They own the copyright. It has been copyrighted by them, not copywritten. It's spelled R-I-G-H-T-E-D, not W-R-I-T-T-E-N or W-R-I-T-E. Past tense of copyright is copyrighted. And you can send your work to the Library of Congress, and for about $50, they'll give you a certificate that says this is your copyrighted work, and no one else shall touch it. All right, so you get permission from the copyright owner when in doubt. Number 2. Is it ethical to add applause to a speech if in fact there was not an audience? But let's say that a President of the United States comes and lectures here, and in fact what happened is everybody booed him. Boo, boo, we wanted free education, we're not getting it. You know, whatever, right? Well, if instead, because I'm a president supporter, I take out the boos, and I add applause, that's unethical, because that's not real. That's not what was really there. And this is really a news broadcast, right? We're not just having fun making something up. We're saying that we are showing you the events that actually happened, but we are lying because we put in a bunch of applause there. So think about ethics. What is the national student organization that you are encouraged to join? This is literally just for the state test, because here at ALA, you are not required to join it. It's about $30 a student to join this club. It's called Skills USA. And you enter into contests and you learn cool stuff and you meet cool friends. But ALA and your favorite teacher is not going to pay your $30, and you don't want to pay it, so we don't require it. What is freedom of speech in journalism? So can you film in public places? We have the right to say things, to have opinions. We have the right to film certain things in public places, but we can't go on private property and film without their permission. Don't walk into someone's house and just think you can film anything willy-nilly. You will get far in your career if you demonstrate skills and a professional attitude. So have a professional attitude. They're the only kind of people I like to work with. I like to work with people that can roll with things a little bit, that can actually help me get a project done instead of criticize. Instead of showing up late, they're there on time. When I say buy me lunch, they agree to buy me lunch. Well, whatever. Number 6, for which of the following sources do you have permission to use footage? YouTube, public news channels, Facebook, your family home videos. Okay, I did make it plural there, but I've argued with people over this. So YouTube, everyone says YouTube, yeah, because that's just for everybody. No, YouTube is copyrighted content. You don't have permission to take anyone's YouTube footage and do anything with it. Unless they say it on there. Sometimes it'll say on the screen, very rarely, but once in a while it'll say, go ahead and do what you will with this footage. Public news channels. This is where I get into arguing with people. A public news channel broadcast, like from channel 245, Fox News, CNN, whatever, those are still copyrighted by the owners, by the ones that created it. But there are some situations there where it is sort of just public news. They're just reporting on the president. They're reporting on an outbreak of a disease. A lion was seen charging a car down Main Street. I mean, whatever it is, right? And interestingly enough, you can usually get that footage and pay a very minimal fee. Sometimes as low as $25, sometimes $50. But you can say, I would like the footage from that news broadcast, and you usually can get it. So there's some kind of a strange deal with copyright there. But I disagree with the people that created the state test, because it's really still copyrighted by whatever, by CNN, by KTVX, by whatever. Facebook, again, that content's copyrighted. Someone created it. As long as they can prove that they created it, whether they registered it with the Library of Congress or whether they had friends that witnessed it and said, no, they created that, it's copyrighted the second they created it. So even Facebook you can't use. But your family home videos, because you shot them and it's your stuff, you can use that. So really where it says sources, I personally think it's really only family home videos. You could get sued for using any of that other stuff without permission. When in doubt regarding possible copyright violations, it is best to ask permission. 8. Breaking news reported immediately is hard news. Hard news. Again, today in Mr. Walker's class, a fire broke out. Kids were jumping out the windows. That's hard news. Human interest stories, however, are the opposite of hard. Soft news. We're going to go visit this place where they're going to put in a little puppy petting zoo. Isn't it just cute to pet puppies? It just feels nice and relaxing. Ow! Till the puppy bites you. That's soft news. What does shooting at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second or higher allow you to show? Slow motion. So what that means is if you play back, again, let's pretend we're doing this here. By the way, they used to, at carnivals back in the 1800s, they would have a stack of these photos on a thing that was like a circular drum, and you would wind it, and you would see the photos flip. And it was like, cool, it's like usually you had like a viewer, I'm like watching like some motion here. Well anyway, if I am shooting at 60 frames per second, so I'm shooting 60 times per second, but I play it back at 30 frames per second, I'm playing it back twice as slow. I'm going to pretend here I'm doing 60 frames per second. Now I'm playing it back at 30 frames per second. Okay? So I'm still seeing all that footage, but I'm seeing it twice as slow. However, it still looks smooth because it's more than 24 frames per second, if you were paying attention back when we talked about that. Alright, so if you shoot at 60 frames per second or higher, you can play back and show official slow motion. If you shoot at 30 frames per second and you play it back slower, it looks a little bit jerky. But now let's go on to 3 jobs you apply for in this field of television broadcast. Anything that you have done related to this class probably has an application in the real world. You could run a teleprompter in the real world. You could run a camera. You could be an anchor. You could be a lighting director, a set director, or a set constructor. You could write the copy. You could go get the commercials. You could shoot the commercials. All these kinds of things. I'm just curious to see if you have kind of said, I kind of like doing this. I like doing the color keying. I like switching. I like running the sound. Whatever it is you think you like doing, go ahead and write down 3 of those.